ahead and talk about breaking barriers. And I thought that I'll just go to the stage and talk about myself. Because the first time in my life, I have the spotlight on me, and this time around, it's for the right reasons. And if I have to talk about myself, it is easy for me to talk about myself because I'm a recovering narcissist. And up until recently, somebody told me that it's not self love, it's something more serious than that, so I can't afford to relapse. So I thought that I'll still make it interesting for you guys. And I also have one more keen observation that if I use the word doctor as a prefix before my name, you guys are definitely going to take me seriously, are you? Is everyone going to take me seriously? Yes, you guys are going to take me seriously because of my prefix. But before I get down to the conversation, I thought to myself that if I could, there's a lot of negative connotation towards it. So we need to consciously sit down and, or too often, of course, just to realize that these two words are very aggressive in its very own nature. So I will break down this in silos for you, breaking separately and barrier separately, just to understand that the whole conversation around it, it's not fun. Because if you talk about breaking, it makes me feel as if I'm an aggressor. I'm angry at someone or I'm fearful of something. You, in a fight, you're like, I'm going to break your head. Kids say, I'm going to break your toys. You say, I'm going to break your trust. Do you guys say that all the time? And imagine if you guys break streak on Snapchat. What consequences will that have on your friendship? Of course, block, delete from all social media handles, definitely. So there's a lot of negative connotation when it comes to breaking. It's actually like you have an axe in your hand and you're about to break something. Okay. And then I thought barriers, and barriers seem like as if I'm cornered in front of a wall and I don't have anywhere to go from that point forward. So part of the problem was for me to understand that I need to change the narrative and the perspective by which I look at the topic, breaking barriers. And I realized that let's change that into a conversation where we can feel more empowered, where we can feel more in control, and give it a sign of words that say normalizing obstacle. Normalizing obstacle, or maybe alternatively, you could say revisiting, re evaluating obstacles, and at the same time, I don't want to use the word barriers at all because if I use the word obstacle, it energizes me in a way or the other. It energizes me, it excites me because obstacle is, oh, I couldn't text you because I did not have a data package. That's an obstacle. You will find internet maybe later and you will send a text to somebody. Obstacle can be a speed bump, but it's not actually a wall in front of you that you really have to break with an axe or a hammer or a kick. You don't have to be a martial arts for that. And most of the times I've realized that young generation, the kind of barriers you guys face, the kind of obstacles you guys face are psychological. Some of them are physical, some of them are social media comparisons, anxiety, cultural, religious, gender bound, or language, and many more, of course. And you always think of these as a silo and you consider them as a problem because we have grown up realizing that they are a barrier, but they are not a barrier. As soon as you start the conversation by saying normalizing, you're accepting other person's reality and you're also at peace with your own reality. And do that more often. Be friends with your emotions. And if you try to be friends with your emotions, I'm absolutely all right. And I have confidence that you will start feeling that everything around you is pretty normal. Okay? It's nothing out of the box. And by the way, if you ever use breaking barriers, you will have an understanding in your mind that you somehow have to be a rebel or be rude to somebody or you have to defy your parents and you have to move outside of your normal bounds. You have to be angry, raise your voice. You don't have to do all of that. Your reality remains your reality and other person's reality remains their reality as long as you normalize the conversation around barriers that you see, either societal or otherwise. In doing so, I thought that there are two streams in my life that I've tried to make sure that I overcome. One is professional and the other one is personal. I will give you some very regular examples of my own professional life where I try to use my own language, my professional language, my brand's language in order to break some kind of barriers and to contribute however little I can, of course, because I'm not a commercial brand, I'm not a giant or a national brand, but at least I tried to communicate what I wanted to communicate and made sure that our effectiveness in visuals try to make you feel that it's normal. because the visual is so beautiful. So I started off 9 lines, and it was against popular opinion 11 years ago. Masculine or too feminine. So we used makeup for men. Nobody criticized us, by the way. So we were trying to seep our way into normal ways of life where nobody was criticizing and all these models look stunning on screen. So it's effectiveness of visuals essentially. Then three gorgeous girls were interviewed by New York Times, by CNN, and also likes like PTV World. So we were on the media radar anyways because we were putting a lot of effort on e-commerce. But there were three buzzwords in my life that were causing a lot of barriers in my head. One was fashion, lifestyle, and then a man doing it. Because I remember my father was the biggest force against me being in fashion. So I wanted to be a fashion student, but I could not because my father didn't want me to do that. It's very predictable parental behavior. Yes, it is. But I wanted to comply also at the same time. Little did he know that I'm going to grow up owning a fashion and lifestyle brand. And I don't regret his decision of not telling me to not be in fashion as a student because I realized that I can grow up and buy fashion sometimes. Okay? That's all right. But I still opened up the brand as a man, which is fashion and lifestyle brand, and I did that with another man, my business partner. In doing so, we always made sure that we're not going to be a commercial brand and we're going to make our voice heard, however little, but with the help of our brand. So, what we did was, along the way, we had campaigns like the first brand to use a black model in Cape Town for our collection. Everybody said it's not going to be a hit, but this was critically acclaimed. We were not criticized one bit for this, actually. I was surprised. As we moved along, we had we were the first brand to shoot Marvia. She's a transgender, very well respected, the first newscaster of your national television also. We used her for our eyewear campaign and she's gorgeous. We got no criticism for it also. So we were on the right path at least. That we were not getting criticism. In fact, mainstream media was telling us that we are doing a good job and we were also winning some national awards. Then then we opted for men wearing makeup. And it is all right because makeup is a decorative technique. You either paint a canvas or a girl's face or a man's face. It enhances the understanding of your facial features. It has nothing to do with too masculine or too feminine. So we used makeup for men. Nobody criticized us, by the way. So we were trying to seep our way into normal ways of life where nobody was criticizing and all these models look stunning on screen. So it's effectiveness of visuals essentially. Then three gorgeous girls, inclusivity in terms of size. We wanted to break that barrier also. And the middle one, I'm obsessed with her. She's so gorgeous. She also happens to be the makeup artist of the shoot. She's just beautiful. And you can't deny her screen space because she's under a different capacity as far as her body size and shape is concerned. So we really wanted to have size inclusivity also. So bit by bit, we were trying to do what we can do to make them heard, to make ourselves heard, and make sure that our narrative is normalizing. We were not challenging the way you think. We were not challenging the way you think. We were all right with the way you think, but we had our own communication strategy. Could we just have the right to do that? Yes, we could. Can you tell me not to? No. Can you tell me that I'm not going to be a commercial success? Okay, I don't want to be a commercial success. Thank you. But in doing so, the audience that I will build for myself and for my brand, that is going to be exclusive. You're not going anywhere because the only product that you get out of me is through my website. We were the first brand to bring back a communication which brought back the age-old sport of Lahore. This was the first time when we woke up every day for at least 5 days and woke up with negative tweets and tags for over 5,000. I told my team, do not come to me and tell me what the negative feedback is, what the negative connotations are. Don't take screenshots, don't share. I will wake up after 96 hours and digital media will automatically die this news out. However, mainstream media fell in love with this campaign. Everybody was looking and talking about the age old lost sport of Lahore. And the campaign was labeled as I Love You Lahore. Yes, every business wants a commercial success, but in doing so, do you have an ethos in mind? Do you have a personality in mind? And that's what we wanted to achieve. One example that I'm going to give you before I move on to the personal barriers that you guys face and how I can help you in order to revisit that barrier also is defying age. I don't know why people have a conversation or have worry about, oh, I'm getting into my 30s, I'm getting into my 40s. What do I do? Which doctor should I go to? What do I do? What cosmetic product should I use? Oh, retinol is so good for my face. What is this fuss about? You started aging the day you were born. Why are you worried at the age of 30s and 40s? Is that a roadblock? Because you were aging in your teens as well. Did you say, oh, I'm going through a mid-teen crisis? You never said that. No, it's only 30s and 40s that you start automatically feeling underconfident because the society tells you to. Because they cannot get past the fact that you're aging. Everyone ages. You started aging the second you were born, okay? So you're getting to realize that you have to defy age from my own branding communication, I'd want to do that. So you'd find models here at the age of 20 and also 50, and each one of them is sharing a screen space and looking as glamorous as possible. One of some singles, one of them, uh, in fact, her daughter is in your university. But you can't tell because she's gorgeous. Why are we being ageist? Can we move past that? Because everyone can look beautiful as long as you normalize the conversation of a 50-year-old woman having three grown-up kids and modeling for yourself. We did end up creating a lot of uproar, all positive though, okay? However, professionally, make your voice sound heard, okay? Sometimes I come from a privileged position where I can communicate because this is my own brand, but wherever you guys can, you guys should have the capacity to move on and also communicate at the same time. In doing so, I realized that out of experience, I can have three concrete ingredients for normalizing obstacles. One of them is about having a vision to learn to coexist with differences. There's no point in arguing about a conversation that you don't agree with, so try to coexist. At the same time, have the drive to get the conversation going and be passionate about what you think. And while you're doing it, be consistent about it. Be consistent in your thought and in your action and give people room and space to breathe because that will eventually add a lot of encouraging point of view and it's healthy conversation that you can have either amongst yourself, with yourself personally, and also professionally. Also, at the same time, do it tastefully. If you have disagreements, all of us can have disagreements. All of us will be eventually overcoming some kind of obstacle, but you have to do it with a lot of taste and grace and poise. There's no, there's no pleasure or there is no trophy to a person who is negative about other people's opinion. Or maybe in imposing your or in explaining your point of view, you put the other person down in the conversation. That's not going to happen. Also, at the same time, you accept criticism. I don't want you to believe in criticism, but you accept criticism. As I was opening up my own brand, I had a lot of criticism, but I accepted it, stayed quiet, moved on. That only comes as a consequence of your self confidence and conviction in what you're doing is right. Have that sorted in your mind first. And then, of course, you own up to it. Then you stand up for yourself and for the people who are like minded or who share the same school of thought as you. Professionally, these were a few examples that I wanted to share with you guys. However, with my, I've had a very unfortunate series of life losses in my life, and that began with my father in the first place. Because I was a teenager when he passed away, and I was always being the man of the house. Even if I was a teenager, I was given the responsibility and the ownership of earning, studying, running the family functions, and making sure I'm the pride of the family. There were two options that I was given. Number one, I could give up and be negative about it. Number two, I could sit myself down, that too very often, and make sure that I own up and I rise up to the occasion, accept the challenge, and make sure that maybe I can live up to what the standards the society has set up for me. And sadly, my father could have been here, but he took an early retirement. That's all right. But he could have been sitting here and be proud of me, I guess. Or maybe he could have seen my business's success or my professional and personal success. But I'm glad my mother is there to see all of that, but my father didn't. All of this negativity in your life should not add on to your own personal exercise and your own personal will to stand up and live up to it. All I want you guys to do is maybe believe in this. Will also be somebody else's winning streak. And that's the streak you want to live up to for the rest of your life. While you're at the journey of normalizing obstacles. Thank you very much.